Burns and the Invisibles, whether this is your first time seeing this or if you've been on before. This beautiful day, this Beltane time, this great time of fertility of the land and spring and all the energy coming forth from. I have the first tulip in my garden came up, this beautiful pink tulip. And today I'm actually doing this Ask the Invisibles from my home. So I really hope that the internet is strong enough. If we're having any connection issues, please just give me a heads up and I might just put a wire in. But I thought I'd look outside at the orchards and the trees. So the questions that I like to hold space for are questions for yourself, humanity, or the planet. So using, your own internal knowing, if there's something that feels like you want to share here, depending on how the demand of who's here, you can also provide a private message to me in a private message if you don't want your name associated to that. But if things get really fast, like they did last time, I won't be able to get private messages because there's just too much going on. So how this goes is I'm just going to set the intention today by allowing all of us that are here to witness this transmission, whether you're seeing this in the future or if you're watching right now, to know that you are the one that discerns and determines what is important for you to hear from this. So believe it, receive it, leave it or lend it. Let these teachings come forth and inspire you, encourage you, support you, motivate you, maybe shine a light on different areas of your life or on humanity that we can focus a little bit more on. And just trusting that wherever you are, the earth is beneath you. It's beneath all of us as she's holding us, she's grounding us, she's helping us assimilate any information that comes up, and that all of your ancestors and your support network are around you, holding space for this transmission. So I'm just going to ring this bell and bring us into presence, and then I will start with the first question. So welcoming the invisibles and the unseen, the support networks, the guides and the guardians into the space to be with us for the highest and best good and the highest and best way. Thank you. All right. So as I'm looking outside and the hummingbirds are flying around out my window and spring is clearly around, I'm just feeling into what is it kind of the theme of redirecting your life and redirecting one's energy, and what is if there's any guidance that the invisibles have around if there is a trajectory in your life that perhaps you've been going on for a long time, whether it's patterns in a relationship or your business or your work or how you show up on a daily basis, and how to create space for these new trajectories, how to create space for when life comes and brings you an opportunity. Oh, hello, Viola. So for everyone that's popping on today, I didn't share this even on my homepage. So it's going to be very intimate today, but you're welcome to share it if you want, because I know last week was insane because I shared it somewhere and got so many people, which is wonderful. But I want to keep the container intimate today. So welcome to this beautiful container, whoever is here. And so the question about if there's any guidance for any of us who are in a trajectory in life and feel that there's something that wants to happen or come through us that might be apparently totally different to where we're going, and if there's any guidance to support that transition from really changing gears. So let's see what they have to say. we gave you a new perspective. If you think of the evolution of most humans, not all, but going from crawling to walking, would you see that as a child starts walking, it is veering off its path and choosing another path? Or do you see that as a child starts walking, it is of the same path, the same trajectory that that baby who could hardly hold their head up has always been on? And why we're saying this is that sometimes in life, what is next for you to experience and explore may seem like a big transition from what you know, from that baby who's been crawling and becoming comfortable with the perspective of being close to the ground, being on all fours. But to know in life, these changes of path are not that. They are more the opportunity to allow life to continue to move through you and express itself in the way of growth it wants to. So what we suggest for anyone that's experiencing this feeling that life is taking a 360, is to allow yourself to expand to that perspective of that elder who looks back on the cycles of life and sees, oh, that moment is when I learned how to be this person for the world. That's the moment I grew into this new way of expressing myself. And it's in that moment more opportunities, different perspectives occurred for me. So if you're in this place in your life, remember that what's being asked of you is to continue to grow and to learn how to move past that awkward phase in your growth, that teetering, that what you're impulsively being drawn to go towards, to grow towards, is deeply in you, that drive to live. So we encourage more trust in the process, trusting in your innate feeling and knowing that there is something moving through you that is helping guide you. Even if on the external it may seem chaotic, that there is a growth happening, and that all change that is occurring because of that growth in the long run is supportive of who you need to become and who you will be at the end of your life, staring back at all these hurdles and the laughter and the appreciation that can come from there. Thank you. Well, that was lovely. I like that perspective of the baby learning to walk, and how that is really just the same direction, right? The same direction, even if it is such different experiences and different perspectives. So moving on, hello you and all beings that have arrived. It's so lovely to know that you're wherever you are, in your home, anywhere on the planet. Hello, Linda. We've got Linda, we've got Ao, we've got Ona, we've got Viola. So we're going to start. So the first question we have, the first question we have is, hi, Priestess. I'm going to show this. And invisibles and all, I really would like to go home to Europe. I need my green card to arrive and finances to feel freedom for it. Is it on its way? What could I do to do better to achieve? All right, I'm going to reread this. So you want to go home to Europe. You've been gone for a long time, huh? Some years, if that's correct. And in order to do that in a way that you can return to your beloveds, where you are, you want the green card to arrive. Green card and finances. Okay. Let's see what they have to say. 2 years. I understand. I had to be away from my home for like the longest I think was 3.5 years without seeing so many family. All right. Here we go. So what's going on with the green card? What's going on with this, with your capacity to return, to go and visit and return to the home that you speak of, from the home that you are at? There's something about June. When you say that you're waiting for your green card to arrive, does that mean that you're in the process of, have you been, do you know that it's arriving? Like, have you applied and you've been extended to, or have you been accepted? Is that something that you're not aware of? Hi, Katie. Because why I'm saying that is that for you, Viola, is, okay. Yes, it should. Wonderful. Yeah, there's something about June, but there's also something about, it's like this image I see that would maybe something that could support you right now is allowing yourself to notice if there is almost this feeling that I have is like this energy of like this disbelief in the process, like almost, even though you know it's coming, you've gone through so many hurdles and to get here, but this feeling of like almost like, has it truly come into a full body understanding that all your persistence has actually paid off? Because like something I'm seeing is like in this journey of grounding in this opportunity for yourself through the legal system, through all those hoops, through all those prayers and actions and money, most likely, that what I see is like there's something like, might seem like a total tangent, but what they're showing me that wants to be cleared or supported is to look into, it's like I keep seeing like you as a baby, either like how you were, like you're part of either if it's part of your birth story or if you were like taken away from your mother in the hospital. I'm not sure what your story is, but this feeling of, there's something like almost in your body of this feeling of, that's being like almost duplicated of like, when am I going to return? Like, and what can come up from that, almost that what's being held in your body feels like it's like that reaction or that stimulus that's coming up around this like waiting and this need and this like like really this feeling of like seeking mother, like wanting to have this connection to home and have mother and have, is connected to something that happened when you were like either a baby or when you were really young as well. And so they want to explore that it is coming. I mean, really, I'm seeing specifically more like June or July, hopefully sooner, I'm guessing you would like. But before that comes, just looking into yourself, and if there's any work that you could do on like clearing whatever that imprint was around, no, almost this like fear that you're not going to be reunited, or this fear of distance from family and from home, like, and it could have happened even within, you know, the thing about our birth stories is that a minute experience or 20-second experiences that can happen can, you know, create lifetime repercussions and challenges. So to work on that, to work on when that might have happened in your life, and just kind of start healing and clearing that embodied feeling that you have around this displacement. I don't know what the root of the fear is. Yeah, like what they're showing me is something about like when you were either a baby or you were either if even taken away to, I don't know if you were taken out of the hospital, like taken into an incubator, or if you were maybe had to be sent to an aunt, or I know there's something about you being a baby being taken, or not in a bad way, but just having to be removed from your mother when you could have had a lot more closer connection. So blessings on exploring that, and congratulations. That's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that it's coming. So moving on. Oh, she says, let's see. So this is Ona. Hi, dear. Somehow I always magically come home when your physio starts. Well, it's like clockwork. I still intend to donate when I'm not broke again. Oh, thanks. Yeah, so for anyone watching, I just created a Patreon account. So for anyone that wants to support more of my creations and videos and teachings, that's Patreon/Sarah Burns, I believe. So she says, I would like to know what I need to do for this persistent acute health ailment, emotionally, physically, whatever comes up. Thank you. All right. Before I get into that, I just want to say hi to everyone that's popped on since I've been talking. We got Katie, we've got Sensa and Francesca, Ayo, hey. All right, so this is for you, Ona. So any guidance around this persistent acute health ailment? Have you gone to a doctor for it at any point? Oh, hi, Scott. Ona, have you seen a doctor? Or have you received any like needles? I'm seeing like needles. I'm not sure if it's, I don't know if the difference, if it's like acupuncture or if it's actually like going to a doctor and tested. Hi, Christian. Just waiting on Ona. Hi, Tally. Look at all these lovely beings. So lovely to know you're here. So you have a doctor. Have they taken blood from you? Something has to, there's something, it's like your energy level though is more what they're focusing on. Like, I don't, not like oh, Nessa, hello Nessa, but like they're showing me it's a feeling that you have less, there's like, how do I describe this? There's something going on with not having as much energy, like there's a depletion that's happening in your body that might turn into other kinds of testing. It might be interesting to get your blood work done, and possibly even by a naturopathic doctor, because they can also do that. I don't know if you have coverage where you are, but it feels like it tends to connect. Some of the root is connected to not having or body not able to take in something about using that possibly get help. Usually I don't suggest that, but I expect. And some docs might be a little more gentle. I think that they can just do blood work from even pricks on the finger. I'm not sure. I just keep seeing doctors and like needles, something about needles. Emo. I think I'm hearing like something like hemoglobin, which I think is also in your blood. Maybe there's something about your white red blood cell count. Something that they're also showing that if you can explore what, oh, did my screen just popped off? Oh, okay, you don't have time when you go to doctors. Do you have any friends that are naturopathic doctors? Oh, is anyone able to see me? It looks like my screen is totally black. I hope you can see me. I can't see myself. Oh dear. And so in that, I think the main thing that I can suggest, if like I'm not able to fully get into what the details are, except for it feels like there's something about maybe in your blood would be the answer. Oh, you see me. Great. Okay. And to maybe explore, you can see me. Oh, great. There's like black square where I'm supposed to see myself. My connection has been iffy. Yeah, I'm experimenting doing it at my home. I live on a small island and I live in a beautiful paradise with ponds and forests and orchards, but it is not the best reception. So that's for you, Ona Madir. If you could explore, maybe even do a little study on hemoglobin. I don't know anything about it, but that could be a supportive avenue to explore. I know that's not a big thing. If you can't get tests done, that's as much as I can share right now. Thank you. All right. It's very peaceful. I wonder if I can show you guys. Let's see. It might be too bright. I'm going to turn my computer around because there's orchards outside. Let's see. That's what I'm looking at. There's the hummingbird feeder and the gardens. And it's blooming. All of the flowers are blooming on the trees. It's very beautiful indeed. So moving on, we've got Ao here. I wanted to know if the Invisibles have any messages for me regarding my album. The first thing I saw was like they're actually more about the colors. Like actually the design. Like I was seeing two of the colors I was seeing. I mean, take it or leave it, but I was seeing like this almost this turquoise or this blue, like some tones in that. I don't know why they're saying there's. I'm saying like hearing like disc jockey. I don't understand. Yeah, one of the messages I'm hearing. Oh, one of the messages that I'm hearing is something about. There's something about like I was hearing like almost like France, or there's some like they're showing me that there's. I don't know if it would be. Maybe there's somebody that's coming from another that could help bring your album to Europe, but I'm kind of seeing there's something about like some place in Europe and why they're showing that. The main thing I'm feeling is the importance of being open, which I'm sure you are, to creating connections with like producers or people in Europe is one thing I'm noticing. And I think there's actually some people in Europe here today. If anyone's from Europe here watching, put yourself on the thread, give a little shout out. I'm calling from Canada. And let's see if there's any other things. All right. Before fully releasing, even if you've done some small releases, there's a place in your album that could hold possibly a space for a prayer. And why we're saying that, oh, they're kind of popping out. So what they're showing me is, and also Ao, if you want to if you want to put a link right now for all of us that are watching to your page or to any of your music, and people can check it out. And it's pretty fun. So the image that they're kind of showing me is like, I don't know, have you already created the album? Is it already fully mastered and ready to go? What stage are you at in your album? Oh, you got a show in Amsterdam next week. Perfect. Then you guys are on top of that already. Yeah, because it feels like there's, oh, and so it's witchprophet.com. So for anyone, if anyone here that's watching is in Amsterdam and wants to go to their show, you might be able to find that online. There's something about like possibly when performing, and maybe you already do this, but how they're showing is that it's like in the middle of this, like in the more in the middle of the set, like having a space for like almost like a prayer, or like this, like I'm feeling almost this place of settling the audience in some way. Like I don't know how to describe it, but I'm seeing whether it's like a prayer or an invocation. I know you are probably doing lots of invocations with your music, but this almost this settling into, oh, awesome, it's done, just mastering it now. Settling in and like creating almost this like moment of silence or stillness within the show to, like, I don't know why they're showing me this, but they're saying that there's something about like in the middle, like in the mid of the show, if it feels right, if you can find a time to like almost create this pause, like this beautiful pause in the show. And it doesn't have to be long, but that could help people kind of, and even if it's just you like pausing for a moment and just like breathing or encouraging people to just have a breath, like one breath together, that could help deepen the experience in some way. So that's a bit of what I've heard. And congratulations! That sounds really fun. I've got a close friend in Berlin. I don't know enough to see if that's even close enough, but have an amazing show. Thank you. And with the colors, maybe there's something about wearing those colors too. If album's already done, there's something about turquoise or wearing some turquoise. Maybe that would make more sense. Wearing like a turquoise stone, or I don't know if you have turquoise you could wear to help with communicating, or the color turquoise, or just put turquoise socks on or turquoise panties. All right, so moving on. So we've got Linda. Linda, are you still here, my dear? Just to double check before I read you. Oh, good. Linda van der Watt, are you here still? Linda, are you here? Because if you're here, I will read for you, do a reading for you. But if you're not here, I'm going to move on. Yes, you're here. Wonderful. Okay. So Linda is saying, hello, do you feel anything for me regarding love and money? Thank you. All right. Firstly, it's not that you're doing it wrong necessarily, but that in some way you're listening to the wrong track, or you're listening to a track in an album that isn't relevant anymore in your life. And if that album represents how the mind is communicating about certain topics, that there's different tracks that speak or sing to different processes in your life. And why we're saying this is that we want you to explore, are there any stories that you have about love that feel like they might be going around and around, like a track that you listen from beginning to end? And why we're saying that is that for you, these two aspects, so the aspect of love and the aspect of money, are very much connected. That how you create space to value your time, value yourself, shows up in the quality of the relationships you have and shows up in the money that you bring in. There's something about 2000, oh, they're kind of popping out. There's something they're showing about like 2000, maybe the end, late 2007 to 2008, maybe mid 2008. There's something potentially in that time realm that is possibly a pattern that got started, or an experience that you've had around money or love that feels like it's, I don't know, does that time, is there anything that comes up around that time? You don't have to clarify in full detail here because you are alive. But, oh, hi, Lisa. Because what they're showing is that there's also something that happened recently, and maybe in April, or if you can think of what happened, April 14th is the date I'm getting. And that being said, they are wanting you to, yeah, just get clear with if there's, oh, you left your ex then. Good job. Yeah, because during that time, what they're saying is that whatever happened during that time is possibly creating a bit of the story or the track in your album of love that's going on. And so at this point in time, what's a new, and this can be some homework for you and for anyone else watching that is going through a similar question, is to be authentic with yourself and write down any beliefs that you might have. We'll just focus on love first, because they want you to focus on love, because they're saying that money is actually going to be connected and tied into your connection with love and relationships. And so in focusing on love, we want, and this can be, you can write this down, you can do a little journal entry, or you can maybe take a video of yourself or record yourself speaking about this, is to speak as transparently as you can about some of the beliefs that you might have about love. We can even use as a result of, or that you've learned about love from being with your ex, or from that transition or from that breakup. And then when you're done that list of what you've learned or what you believe or what's coming to the surface, and, really don't censor yourself. Like if it's like, love sucks, love equals heartbreak, put that down, just be completely honest. Or if it's like, love is the answer to all my prayers, just allow it to be, and maybe do it within like, put a 6 to 8 minute timer on. So have yourself time. So you're just free writing any beliefs that come up around relationship that are in you. And then the next part of it is to read over those beliefs and to notice how you feel when you read over those beliefs. So noticing if you're reading over a belief or thinking about it or hearing what you've said, and your body maybe feels like a little icky, or it feels open and expansive, just track that. And for the parts of those beliefs that feel really expansive, I want you to maybe circle those. And maybe if there aren't any beliefs in there that feel expansive, and maybe some of them, especially if there's been a lot of heartbreak, a lot of them might be like a little closed or hurt or tender. So for the next stage is I want you to recreate your musical track of love. And so what that is to start writing down beliefs that you would like to have about love. And so I'm stating them in the presence, like I'm so grateful, and this is a process I've run from the Intender Circle. So you can say, I'm so grateful that I have this beautiful, if it's about relationship, this relationship that supports me and encourages me, that I feel inspired and uplifted and thriving in the nectar of this relationship, or something like that. And kind of going through, you can state it from the present, or you can state love is capable of, love brings me, I learned this from love, and just start getting into those feelings. And even if you don't believe it at this point, just start writing those down and then reading them over to yourself and just starting to feel and let that go into your body on what those beliefs are. Because there is something that they're showing, that there's something from that time too that needs to be transitioned out of your being, so that you can have a clear foundation on what's coming, that you can really be calling in. It does feel like there's a few different people around you. I'm not sure if you're aware of them or if there's maybe interests, but that before fully, unless you're already in a relationship, but they're showing me that there's a foundation that needs to be fortified within your being first, so that you're not recreating or getting yourself tangled on stories of the past. Thank you. So that's for you, Linda. I hope that is helpful. So moving on, I'm just going to check to see if we have any private messages. So the next question is from Katie. And so Katie, are you still here, Katie? Katie Barrington. Oh, you're so welcome, Linda. And blessings to your new track in the album of love. So Katie, I think you, oh yeah, you're saying my connection's iffy. I'm sorry if my Wi-Fi is a little off, you guys. I'm not in the office today. I think, Katie, you wrote something earlier. Are you here, Katie? You're here. Wonderful. Okay. So what I see now is this top comment that you wrote, which is a little more detail. And so Katie wrote, my spirit guide came to me in a dream and showed me mountains of copper and rolls of hay bales covered in copper. Is there any way I can get some understanding about it? Okay. That is a fascinating dream. So mountains of copper and rolls of hay bales covered in copper. The first thing that I kind of thought was the story of who is that pesky little being, Rumpelstiltskin, who turns hay into gold. He takes straw, I think it's straw, and he weaves straw into gold thread. Oh, and I saw the image of all this copper, made me kind of think of that. So let's see what they have to say. So what we're noticing is that this copper needs to be addressed as to what that symbolizes to you. Is copper something that represents receptivity? Is it something that represents conductivity? And then what does hay represent? What we're seeing is that The straw is a form of, oh, they're kind of popping out. It's interesting. They're actually showing me this connection between, do you know if any of your ancestors were farmers by any chance? Or worked with animals, farmers, had any, hello Lisa. Because they're showing me there's some sort of connection with like the hay turning into like this. There is a sense of prosperity and abundance that feels like it. It feels though that it's almost like these two different forms of abundance, right? So there's this physical plane abundance. So there's copper, there's metal, there's this kind of goldness. And then there's this abundance that hay represents in the form of feeding and nourishing the animals and farm life and like roots. I'm not sure, but my first job, I worked on a ranch. And so I'm wondering if, like, where is your connection right now with, or do you have any connection with, this is me just going on a tangent, but with like farming or gardening, like what's your connection right now with the earth and with how you provide or connect with that cycle, specifically regarding producing of food? So growing food, connecting with animals, cows. Do you live anywhere close to farms? Or are you in a city? Because the feeling that I get from this dream is, it feels like I was saying, it feels like these two different avenues. Like there's the physical plane, there's like abundance, there's copper, there's metal, and then there's like nature and earth and tending of the wild. And then that's also being coded or learning. There's something in that. So I want you to explore maybe, the message I'm hearing, like keep track of your finances. There's something about money in that. There's something about your relationship to how you see money, how you see abundance, maybe something needing to be addressed, or as simple as go and work for a farm because you'll do well. All right, there you go, my dear. So moving on, next we've got Sun. You desire to ground. Yes. Yeah, because they're showing that there's something like, it's almost this feeling that I got was that the copper's not enough, right? Like it's not like that physical plane or that form of abundance it's not fulfilling you as much as finding a way of being able to have connection to the earth. So find that, my dear. You got this. Maybe make a commitment. Go out, go find someone with a farm. Go hang out on someone's farm for a moment. Even if it's just going out on a country tour, drive 3 hours, go touch some hay. All right. So Sun, are you here, my dear? Sun Francesca, are you still around before I do your reading about the plumber work you have? Yeah, wonderful. Okay. So it says, hey, any guidance around the plumber work I have to do at the farmhouse? You're welcome, Katie. Okay. Is there an area that's kind of the thing that I saw was that there's an area, I don't know if it's below the house or if it's below a floor, I'm not sure, but there's this one area that seems like it needs a lot more attention. Maybe have you flushed the lines recently? Do you know? It's like I'm seeing like this place where I'm trying to understand what I'm seeing. It's like, are the pipes just really old? Like there's this one almost this like spot I'm seeing that's like like if I was to give you a map, this is a map that my daughter drew. If this is the house, it's somewhere around here. Oh, you can't find the main well. So you're saying that it's all plumbed in, but you're not able to find the well? Because I'm seeing like there's like if this is I don't know if this it might be switched on the reflection. This is my left side here. There's some place here where I'm seeing like there's like pipes kind of coming together. I don't know why I'm seeing that, but they want. Oh yes, okay. So it's all hooked up, but you're not able to find the well. So is the question, are you trying to find that's your main objective, is to find the well? Because there are different ways of finding the well. I mean, there's even, like, there are people that can, see if I can scan a bit. You're not sure what plumber to use. Well, the thing about the local plumber is it feels like they would be able to, they understand more of maybe these old buildings or these buildings out in the farm area. Because it kind of, it feels like, I'm not sure how this building was put together. If it was is it an old house? Like if it's really old, kind of what I'm feeling is it's almost like there's two different jobs at hand. Like there's getting into, and maybe that's not true. Maybe you have a different idea, but it feels like it's really old. Yeah. Yeah, because when the guides are kind of looking into the plumbing, and it feels like, okay, it's kind of, it's not as it's not protocol plumbing. Let's just say that. It's like and that's why they're showing this one spot where it's all kind of coming together. Needs to be changed up because I don't know if it's creating, like, if there's something in the lines that need to be clear. There's something, I just see all this like kind of yucky or some sort of energy plugged up or in that. But they're showing that the plumber from they're showing that the plumber from nearby might understand these older buildings more because they might have more experience working with them. The plumber from Toronto might be better at almost like fabricating new lines or doing like irrigation or kind of setting up the next layer. So it's up to you, but yeah, just maybe make sure or double check with the plumber around, if they've had experience working with these older buildings, because it feels like it's going to be a little different than, up to date buildings. But that is possibly the spot, like something happening over here. Yeah. Yeah. The local guy will have a better understanding of these things. All right. Thank you. So moving on. It feels like it's going to help you get a better understanding, but that there might be another step that might require the Toronto plumber a little later down. It feels like there's two steps, but the first step you can start with him and then see how that, or them, see how that works out. All right. So, hello everyone, by the way. I'm just going to start scrolling to see who is next. I'm doing my... All right. So we've got Christian. Christian, are you still here? You put a question of, hi, any guidance for me or any words from my spirits? Are you still around, Christian? La 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 la. Christian Grenu? You are wonderful. Okay, so let's read this for you. Don't close the door on everyone. Specifically, as one person, we're seeing that they're kind of popping in. They're showing this image of like somebody that's possibly like hurt you, what appears to be beyond repair. Like this, I don't know if there's like this person in your life that, like, it feels like you've been, I mean, on a deeper level, it's probably your heart that's been hurt, but it might come out as feeling like you've been disrespected, or the feelings or the ways of responding might not have been as tender as what it really is. And so what they're saying about is to not fully close the door. I don't know if there's anyone that's coming to mind. They're saying that a timeline would be the last 18 months, somewhere in there, but that it's almost they're showing that there is some space that could be created for finding like a new approach of, they're saying like balancing the playing fields, like finding that balance in this relationship. And it doesn't have to happen overnight, this process. And maybe it's something, I don't know if it's somebody that it's like almost like I wonder if you've known them for a long time, or if you were younger and knew them and they came back in your life. Like it feels like somebody that possibly you've had, like a few different stories with along the way. Is there anyone that's coming to mind? You don't have to say their name. Because why they're bringing that up is it feels like there might still be almost like, I feel like not support, like a certain level of like, it's kind of like how in life sometimes we have friends that it's just good to have certain people around that, maybe an expert, we're not talking. Yeah, it's like the feeling I have is like sometimes in our lives when we have experiences where we've really been hurt and we get these relationship places where like kind of with this exes, like where you're not even in a place to talk, it doesn't mean that it's almost the image that they're showing me is as they're saying like don't close the door, is that there's something powerful and beautiful about different people in our lives that know us in certain ways and in some way like have been through enough. You've been through enough with them that there's parts of who you are that this person can almost like that knows, whether or not you're in good relations, it's like they still have been through a lot with you and they still know you in a certain way. And like there still has been love and there has been like friendship and appreciation. And so why they're bringing this up is that it feels like there is a potential new way of like not fully closing or like severing off whatever this relationship they're talking about is. Doesn't mean you have to bring this person closer, but that to make sure that you're not, the word I'm hearing is like this isolation. So this, like not isolating yourself from like those that have seen different parts of you. I don't know if that makes sense. That's kind of what I'm hearing. And I think the last thing let's see. The last thing I'm seeing is almost like a practice or something that you could explore. Like if you have a shower, in the shower, because I'm seeing, or if you have a waterfall nearby, that would be just amazing. But I see this image of water kind of moving down. So water moving down, and setting the intention that this water is helping clear and move any pain or suffering around the heart, any like, memories or baggage or challenges that your heart might be holding, and just letting this water kind of clear it, because it feels like there's still a bit of heaviness around your heart that maybe you've become comfortable with, or maybe that you might not fully or be able to address that it's there. Like sometimes in life, in my own life I've experienced where there might be a certain way or a certain emotion or a feeling that I can become so comfortable with because I experience it so consistently that I can almost identify it as myself. And what they're showing is that this heaviness, or like some of this, it's like almost like a gentle weight. Yes, it does. I isolate myself a lot. Yeah, it's like the importance of not knowing that you don't need to isolate yourself, and even this process of like letting the water clear and like clear any of this really protection. Sometimes the heaviness that gets formed around the heart is really a form of protection, just like isolating ourselves is a form of protecting our delicate aspects. And so knowing that there are ways that you can create relationships or friendships where you can be a little bit more vulnerable, in the way that you can see yourself more and feel yourself more, because there's feelings and there's parts of who you are that you may not have really felt for a long time that are really enlivening and vital, and that you can have that, and you can have that back in this life. So to know that can be yours again too. But doing these clearings on the heart is a big thing they're showing me. Thank you. So moving on. Thank you all for your questions. It's always such a pleasure to be able to explore answering in these ways. And I love all the answers that come up, and I always learn a lot. So I'm just scrolling through to see the next question. Looks like Nicole was on. Holly. Hi, Holly. I'm just seeing who's next in line. We've got Nicole next. And if for whatever reason I've gone past your question, so Nicole put this question 15 minutes into the show. You're so very welcome, Christian. So I'm pretty sure Nicole, my dear, you are next. Are you still here? Nicole Day. Nicole Day, are you watching across the internet? It's your turn. It's your turn. Nicole Day, have you stayed on? Are you here? Because I'm not at the office today, I am going to need to go earlier so I can get my daughter from the bus. Oh, and it looks like Clifford listens to music. Awesome. And just posted, I love when that happened as well. Beautiful balls here right now. I'm going to be doing a show in Amsterdam in a few days. Okay, so since I'm not seeing Nicole, unless you, okay, let's see who's next. La, 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 la. Okay, we've got Lisa next. We got Lisa and hi, Vanessa. I'm just doing some scrolling here. Let's see. We have Lisa and then Holly and then Scott. Lisa, Holly, and Scott are the next in order. And hopefully, Vanessa, if I can get through them. Okay. Lisa's here. Wonderful. Okay, now I gotta scroll down. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Okay, here we go. So, Lisa, that is a really cute little owl you got going on in your profile picture. Wondering if there are any messages for me. Okay, this doesn't make any sense to me, but the zebra tattoo or like some sort of, I don't understand. I don't know if I need to. Something about zebras. Written down. Does zebra mean anything to you? In white. Anyways, for some reason there's like this zebra I'm seeing. I don't know. Maybe it's your totem animal. I was like seeing the zebra. Let's see what else I have to say. So Lisa, before you can understand and unravel the differences that you're experiencing in your life, it's important to remember that they're all part of a greater experience. And why we're saying that and why we use this zebra as an example is that the zebra itself is composed of very distinctly different colors, black and whites. And in life, understanding, are there aspects of your life that feel like they're almost conflicting, that it's hard to discern how they can even blend together? And why we're bringing this up is that we want you to learn. Oh, they're kind of popping out. It's like they're showing me this image of like you having the capacity to almost play, I don't know, like play or move into these different, it's like this way of, it's almost like that story of like, okay, I'm a superhero at night and an office clerk in the day, like these two apparently very different parts of yourself. And there's something about exploring. And so is there anything in your life that feels like that? Like, is there any, do you feel like there's like these two different, and I'm just saying two, I mean, there might be more than two, but two different, I don't know if it's professions or ways or like desires, like it could be what you're doing, like what, maybe if you're a day job and then what you actually want to be doing, or your hobby. I believe a lot of hobbies can turn into jobs. I'm a firm believer of following your passion. Because in that they're saying, is that right, Lisa? what they're talking about? Because like the feeling I get is it feels like it almost feels a little confusing to focus on one, but then the energy you need to fulfill this other role or this other up can be depleted. Like these two. Okay, and like to think I can do anything. Yeah, so that would be it. Superhero. I actually, when I was a kid, I think 10, I wrote a comic book about a superhero who had MS because one of my friends had MS as a child. And so I wrote a comic book about her and about her superpowers and how amazing she was. Maybe you need to write a comic book about your amazing superpowers. Yeah, because the image that they're showing is like these two different, almost these two aspects of who you are that might seem really different. So maybe that part of you that's like, I got this, I can rule the world. And then the part of your body that's like, actually, I have a different agenda and I'm going to go at my own pace or do what I need to do. And this image of the zebra, which would actually be interesting for you to kind of bring a zebra into your life, not, if you have a zoo, go hang out with a zebra, or if you want to like get a little animal, because there's something about the zebra that's supposed to help almost support you in this way of how to know that these different parts of yourself are actually the perfect harmony of who you are in this life. That even the MS, even if it's challenges, it's like they're saying it's like this ingredient of appreciation, and this ingredient can kind of act as something that, like that spark you say you have, like that spark to do anything. And that being said, that's weird. They're saying remember your timetables. Maybe there's something about math helping, or like using math to help with your symptoms. I don't know if going into the if you're able to have certain math patterns that you can think of or go through that would actually help balance. I'm not sure why they're showing that. There's something about um, almost like creating some sort of. It feels like a complex suggestion, but it would be interesting to explore in math and MS. Like, is there ways of? I don't know. This is not my ball game, but I'm just seeing that. So just that's the message that we have for you. So blessings. And yeah, if you want to make a superhero cloak, that's also important. All right, how are we doing? So I have to get my daughter very soon. So I think I have, let's see. You're welcome, my dear. Holly? Holly Kramer, are you here? Holly, my dear, are you here? Your question was wondering if you have any messages from past loved ones. You are here. Wonderful. And so for the last people that are viewing this, I most likely am going to have to, I might be able to get you Scott next, but if so, Vanessa, if you're still here, you're after Scott, and I'm going to do my best. Let's see if we can get to you, but there's a chance that we can't, just to give you a heads up. And so for anyone else popping on, there is no more space for questions, but feel free to listen to these answers. And come on next week, same time. So Holly, you're wondering which one you prefer. at this point. So the question of wondering if you have any messages from past loved ones, or should I try to get disability for my back issues, and would I win? Do you have a preference about that? My first disability. Okay, that's why I was just gonna start answering. The first feeling that I had was just to make sure that it's not going to interfere with you being able to and this was also from my own experience too, was going through the government. It feels like you could get it, actually. That's but that there is a way that in order to get it, making sure that you're okay with potentially almost like a bit of kind of there can get whether it's you're not able to fully shine financially, like almost, and this is something I see happen with sometimes when people go through these systems and receive government funding, but then if they actually want to like up level their life, that would actually take away the funding could leave because of that, which can happen with disabilities. And so I know some people that kind of go down the disability route and they're receiving this money, but at the same time, what can happen is that then they don't feel like they can actually do what they really want. Like they can kind of have to stay at that safe place because they could, get in trouble with the government. Like there's something about that. And so just knowing that if you apply, which you could receive the benefits, it might take a while, to make sure that you are really clear that you're not allowing that to, in some ways, disable you from really thriving in other ways in order to keep under the radar. Does that make sense? Because what can happen too is that, and this is something that I've noticed in my own self, is that in order to, and I don't want to, I hope I'm not offending anyone what I'm about to say, but making sure that whenever you're seeking support, whether it's financial support, if you're needing to fundraise, really making sure that when you come from that place of asking for help, that you're coming from a place empowered in that request. Because what can happen is that it can be very easy to slip into feeling disempowered and having to come from that request of like I really just need like a little help because life is crazy, which life can be crazy. But if you're able to hold, just like hold the integrity with like, as you're setting that intention, as you're putting that prayer out, and as you're actually taking actions with that desire to help, doing it in a way that feels really honorable. So if it's, I really am asking for help, I really am putting this request out for disability because I know it's going to help me be able to actually be more present with the different areas of my life, whether it's like if you have kids or grandchildren, or certain aspects of who you are that haven't been able to really develop themselves because of these challenges, that standing from that place of like, I will be able, and in some ways you will be able to actually serve more, right? If you have your more financial needs met without being in pain doing it, if you're not destroying your body, that your body will be able to give much more vitality, and there'll be a lot more kick in this life. And so why I'm saying that is just being really clear with where you're coming from, so that you don't find yourself kind of getting swirled in this vibration of lack, because it's not even in times of not having, you know, I was a street kid, to be quite honest. Like, I lived on the streets. I know what it's like to have like $5 or no dollars. And what I noticed is that it was really powerful for me to find, where can I be in my circumstances, be sleeping under bridges, be in these really, you know, kind of sketchy places, and still feel like I'm in integrity with my purpose, and that my circumstances don't mean that I am anything less than this brilliant, shining life force on this planet. And so, just if you can come from that place, then it'll just help you anchor what you really want to from this money. That this money will then represent that answer to your prayer to shine more, right? To be in greater vitality. So that's a bit of a longer answer. Oh my gosh, I gotta go really soon because that bus will not stop. They will just drive by my driveway with my daughter. So that's for you, dear. So Scott, let's see, we've got Scott, and then hopefully we'll be able to get to you, Vanessa. You're so welcome, Holly. So Scott is saying, Scott, are you here? Are you still here? Scott Graham. Your question is, lately I seem to be taking cooking to another level. How am I going to share this passion with more people? Oh, that's my alarm. This passion with more people instead of cooking for myself. Podcast comes to mind, sharing dinner parties. Are you still here, Scott? Okay. Scott, your passion for cooking. I will admit, me and my daughter have been on a cooking spree. We've been actually watching this Netflix show called Zumbo. Oh, hello. Have you watched Zumbo yet? Sweet Sensations. I've been, not to go down a media expression, but it's an amazing cooking show challenge, baking all sweets. It's delectable and inspiring. All right, so let's see what they have to say about your passion for cooking, and if there's anything that comes to mind. Interesting. So the first thing that came to mind that I saw was like almost a pop-up dinner or pop-up meal. And this is something that I've been to a few where I have amazing foodies, as we call them, foodie friends. And what they do is that, just say if you have a friend that has maybe a cafe or a restaurant, or even like a cool, more localized venue space. It could also be at like a community house. Maybe you have one of these or all of these, doing like these pop-up experiences. So where people come and it could be nice, just because also cooking for a lot of people can be pricey, but you can create like a little menu and put it out to your friends. Like, this doesn't have to be like fully to the world, or it can be to the world. You can even advertise it that you're having this like Friday night pop-up dinner special. And what I found has been really actually the best, and I know that because you've been working with chocolate too, right? Is even if there was people that could come and play music, that it could almost become an experience, right? So the food would be augment, maybe people with like crystal bowls, or bringing in live music and kind of turning it into this fun social where there can be, it feels like having more appreciation around the food would be helpful. Like, just knowing that, and you could even tell stories about the food or make little cards, that it could be like a fun thing, and that could happen possibly even once a month. And as for a podcast, I mean, I'm all for podcasts. Those are fun, even if it's experimenting and doing a few shows and putting them out there so that you can kind of start building the word. So if you are deciding, and if doesn't relate to you, then no need. But if you're deciding to, do these pop-up cafes, you could also say, check out my podcast. So it becomes almost, it becomes more of a cultural, it becomes more of an experience. So it's less about, though the food is amazing, it's also about your passion for the food and your beliefs and just all that means, right? That you get from that experience. And so it feels like that could be fun for you and for your community and for the people that find it, to have that opportunity, and that you could have themes, food themes, that you'd explore, or people could put suggestions in for food themes, and keeping it. I'm actually hearing specifically like keeping it between 10 and 14 people, at least to begin, could be like a nice number to experiment with. It's still a lot of mouths to feed. All right. It's for you, Scott. So, Vanessa, my dear, are you still here? I think we've got, I have literally like 3 minutes, but we can maybe do a quick little question. Are you here, Vanessa? I know, Vanessa, you've posted a few times. Vanessa Jane, you posted a few. Will things improve for me? Are you still here, Vanessa? Oh, there's an owl hooting in the middle of the day. All right. Well, I'm thinking Vanessa's not here, so I'm going to close our council today and just giving gratitude. Oh, you are here. That's fine. Do you bite your nails by any chance? Totally random question. Oh, Diana Madeira, this is the last question. I'm actually needing to get my daughter in like a few minutes. But hello, and come back next week. So next week, every week on Wednesday at 2:30 Pacific Standard Time. So we've been going for like a good hour and a half. So Vanessa, who is still here, does a loved one in... Oh, you do bite your nails? Is that what that yes is for? Because the first thing I was like, something about your nails, stop biting your nails. Or maybe going into where that, so do you bite your nails? Is that the, is that what that yes was about? Because if that's the case, kind of this feeling I have is whatever that, like the feeling, there's something about like a nervous tendency or maybe a pattern that you have that needs to be looked into a little more so that you can shift it, so that you can almost changing that. It's like they're showing that you do. Okay, yeah. Because they're showing, so like even with the nail biting, like what, as these patterns or habits can kind of continue to take a life of their own, it can also shift. Like there's a lot of attention or energy that could be used in a different way. And so the message feels like to explore more of the deeper soul aspects of that, or the deeper reasons why you've created that pattern, and maybe even going into when that started, what was going on in your life. That there's something. I'm also hearing something about like November too. It really is a common year in this. – 2008 and 2006, something back then. You just grew them. Oh, wonderful. Congratulations. Because the message feels like whatever the energy that of patterns or habits that you might have in your life, and we can have so many habits. It can be even just the habit of like not waking up early to do a morning practice. That's me. Or waking up early. But okay, I think they're gonna speak. Let's see. We got 1 minute. I gotta zoom out. Okay. So be careful with how you apply your desires in this life. And why we're bringing this up is that sometimes desires require themselves to have a safe container, right? Have a space that they can feel and be heard by those that you really trust. And why we bring this up is that it's in that reflecting of your desires to people that are very close to you that you can explore if there really is substance to them. Because sometimes what people are seeking in life isn't necessarily going to be fulfilling, or isn't necessarily what they deeply desire, but more of a code or cloaking to that. And so that being said, having an outlet, so finding somebody or a few people that you really trust that you can kind of explore maybe some of the deeper desires that you might have, just as, oh, they're kind of popping out. They're saying in that exploration, setting the stage of saying, I want to explore how I feel about this by talking about it to see if there's really truth to that. That it can be safe like that. And if it's a desire you have potentially between somebody else that you'd like, just setting it like that. Like, I want to explore what it sounds like and feels like to say this. I'm not even sure if it's really a true desire, but can I explore this? So that being said, I gotta go get my daughter. Oh my gosh, the bus is gonna come. So allowing these teachings and these guidance to enter and ground into your life however they will. Believe it, receive it, leave it, or lend it. And this has been Sarah Burns and the Invisibles. I'm closing our gate today. Aloha. La, la, la.